Fingers, Nitroid, Days Ahead, Apache Smash. This is Solid Snake. And I contacted you by Kodak because I have a mission for you. To interview David Hayter. It's going to be life-threatening and occasionally confusing, but I want you to hang in there. And if you're ever thrown off, just remember, everyone, you're pretty good.
Hey, I'm Fingers.
Yo, it's Apache Smash.
Hey everyone, this is Days Ahead.
And I'm Nitroid. You're listening to the Kojima Frequency.
Hey, David, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right.
Oh, man.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Just a little bit, but we'll forgive it.
I appreciate that. Hey, I've also got really annoying music in my head. Is there a way to get rid of that?
Yeah, there should be a little music note there down at the bottom. It's like 2/8 notes.
You know how I know you're a music nerd?
Yeah, those are eighth notes, and it's on mute, but it's still playing in my ears.
All right, no music?
Much better.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah, it was like a hellish muzak from the grocery store in hell. It was,
Get it together, Discord.
right?
A little muzak to loosen you up a little.
Well, we'll see. We'll see about that. What's up, guys?
Oh, man.
Nothing much. It's just been one thing after another. And just when we had a moment to breathe after last weekend, you come here, David, and we're back to the action, I guess.
Now you can no longer breathe. Damn it. Well, thank you for having me. This is very exciting.
Yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with us. We know a lot of, podcasts or panels and stuff try to hit you with like the direct Metal Gear questions or just, hit you with like, how do I get into voice acting? But we kind of wanted to have like a whole different conversation with you. We got a bunch of different topics here to go over. So,
All right, fantastic.
yeah, hopefully this isn't one of those conversations where you're like, oh, I'm answering this for the 80th time,
Well, I don't mind either way. It's all good.
Cool.
Have you ever taken inventory about how many podcasts you've actually done?
No, but I would feel bad, and so I'd just sort of do them all, and then I'd realize, they only had like 8 followers or something, and I was like, not that I want to be snobby, but just it was taking up a lot of my time, so
Sure.
I started doing far fewer. Also, I as you say, I didn't want to be repeating myself again and again. I thought I'd make myself more mysterious, so that was my aim.
Oh, yeah, you got to pick your shots.
That's right. But no, I have no idea how many.
Well, you did just announce you're going to be coming to MGSCon 2 here. You're going to be there in person.
I am. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, it was definitely a good time last year. It was awesome that you did the drop-in codec call. That was a really fun surprise for the people that were there.
Oh yeah. Well, I was so bummed I couldn't make it, but I had already booked this trip to Portugal, and so yeah, I was sitting in a hotel lobby in Portugal, meowing like a cat in front of everybody. It was pretty damn good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that'll hit all of its goals here. I mean, they did like the funding recently for it. We've got like a Kickstarter going all month for it, and they hit like 20K, like the full, pretty much the full base budget there in like the first 3 hours. So we've got stretch goals on there now. Like Cynthia Harrell coming. She said she's really excited to see you. By the way.
Yeah, no, that would be amazing. Nice to have everybody together.
Trying to make it a big old party.
It is kind of funny how we went from last year where it was kind of like barely kind of inching it. And then I guess everybody saw how good of a time we had. So they immediately were like, we need to have this happen again. We need to be a part of this. So funding happened immediately. Yep. And then we're going to be in Long Beach. God bless the LAX Hilton and its lack of AC, but we are moving on to greater things. And on that note of Cynthia, yeah, I would love to see Cynthia again because, David, I don't know how aware you are of this, but Cynthia was actually in Maryland at the Music and Gaming Fest, and we were happy to have a few moments with her, and she is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Just a great person, like gamer auntie. Just a totally good time.
I mean, y'all got to have a steak dinner with her and Gene Park. I mean, I was sitting there like, oh man, I'm so sorry I had to miss this. This sucks, but y'all definitely made up for it because I got a happy birthday sung to me by her not once but twice. So that was during Apache's stream nonetheless too. It was really cool to be on the other end of that. So thank you guys for that. That was an amazing birthday gift.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, we're definitely trying to get her there. We're going to be doing, just fun stuff on stream all month to help raise some more money for that. So definitely looking forward to seeing you there, man. It's going to be fun. And, putting together that little trailer for it was really cool. Just making that whole, in the RAID MGS2 sound for it and stuff and mixing that down. So
yeah, you did a great job.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, thanks for recording that for us.
Yeah, so the dinner was to celebrate her birthday, which was this past Monday. And to celebrate Gene Park, completing his chemo and no longer needing it. And she actually, even though it was her birthday, she gave me a gift. It was a little gold snake pinky ring, and it's the coolest fucking thing I've ever had. She wore it during her tour through Tokyo last year. And if anybody tries to take it, I will kill them. So thank you again, Cynthia, for that jewelry. It means so much.
I'm surprised she's not listening in. She normally comes in and listens in with all the Patreon people ever since we had the episode with her. She just likes to kind of hang out and
right. The one time
she might be resting from partying on at Apache's 12-hour stream last night. She was giving us a little bit of commentary there, but she might jump in.
Yeah, I was like, she might drop in. Who knows?
Well, that would be very exciting.
Sorry, we're still kind of working out the nerves here. This is
yeah.
Oh yeah,
David, I've got to be honest with you. Many years ago, you were at like a Comic-Con clone in Manchester, in England. At the time, I wasn't involved in any of this stuff. I didn't do any community like Metal Gear Online stuff, but I still loved the games. Since I was a little kid, and I was so excited to go because you were there. And when I went, like, I was so nervous to like talk to you that I didn't even get in the line to come and get your autograph because I was like, I can't do it. And I was thinking like, oh, now I'm fine. David Hayter will be fine. And now I'm sat here and I'm so nervous.
You didn't realize you still wouldn't be fine. Well, please, I'm afraid the reality is no match for the legend.
Nice.
It's
I'm not prepared for this emotionally.
Just thank you for being so cool.
Thank you for your appreciation, my friend, but never to you or to anybody else, never be afraid to come up and say hello. I enjoy that quite a bit.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed with you, like either whether it be online or, in person and stuff, or just people talking about it, like just your eagerness to like just get down and like say a solid snake line for somebody, or just to just like somebody's post or something. You really go like the extra mile to interact with the fandom, and even sitting down and talking with us, it just really shows like how much you care about this series and the character, and it's really cool of you to be like that.
I love that you kind of, by the way, I love that you kind of just dropped in that Guyver avatar.
I did.
In the middle of this conversation. Respect.
Oh my God, I just saw that.
My avatar was ridiculous, and I'm like, I could do better than that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, continue.
Yeah, this is, I always say that what I've got is the ideal level of fame. I've got millions of people around the world who think I'm awesome and, will come up, but it's not like being Tom Cruise. It's not like being internationally famous. I mean, like movie star famous. It's just a pleasant amount. So when people come up, I want to give them as much of the experience as they can get, because it's not overwhelming for me. I the other night I met Helen Mirren. I was at a screening and somebody introduced me, and I was just like, oh my God, this is just an international mega star. And somebody like that, I couldn't even imagine being that famous. And at that point I would probably be a little more shut off. But when I get to be famous, it's lots of fun for me, and I get to. And I have this voice that people know, and it makes people happy. So it's sort of like being Homer Simpson. It's kind of fun.
You're more embedded in Hollywood. I mean, so like, does it ever become normal, just sort of like rubbing elbows with big stars and just like, is there a point where you're like, oh, this is just normal, this is my life now, or does it always are you always still sort of starstruck by it?
Well, it's funny you say that because I rubbed her elbow and she didn't find that normal at all. She was like, my goodness, what are you up to? Do I ever feel it depends on the person. I mean, like I've been in Hollywood for 30 some odd years, and I've met, just the top of the top A-list people, and some of them, it's no big deal, and some of them it really shakes me up, and it's a little startling. Like I'm a big fan, but not like crazy big. But I met Nicole Kidman, and she was so beautiful in person, and her skin was just glowing like a movie star. I found myself a little intimidated, and in a way I didn't expect. So it depends on who you meet. Oh, and then I was at Comic-Con, and I was walking with my daughter. It was in LA, and I was walking past the green room, and I was walking to the green room, and she goes, "Oh my God, Keith David is in there!" And I immediately shifted left, and I was like, "Oh, I can't handle that. Like that's too much coolness for me to deal with." But eventually, I worked up my courage and said hello, and we sat down and chatted, and he was awesome. And so, yeah, some people really put the zap on me.
I'm just glad to hear Keith David's awesome in person.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he was so cool, and I have well, I shouldn't really say that. We have a mutual connection on a secret project I'm on, so he was happy to chat with me.
Nice. Yeah. And speaking of Guyver, I see you've got the showing in February the 2nd.
Yeah, February 2nd at the Frida Cinema. It's like a 30-year anniversary showing of Guyver Dark Hero, and Steve Wang's going to be there, Kathy Christopherson, Bruno, I think Chris Michael's going to make, it's just like a whole bunch of the cast and crew. We're going to have some props and stuff, and I'm bringing like 20 people from the movie. And
oh, that's awesome.
And it's going to be a pretty cool event down in Santa Ana.
Man, of all the properties that need a video game,
I agree. That would be a good one.
It's interesting because I got into that film because it was like, oh, like the guy who plays Snake is on there, and it ended up becoming sort of like a comfort watch for me. I'm trying to avoid using the word cult classic.
Oh, please, I'll take it.
But I would love to see. Yeah, if it's getting screenings now, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's about time. But I'd never known the property. I just really loved it as like kind of a nice little early. For the record, my parents named me after Highlander. If you want to get a perspective of how I feel about films around that age, but
are you named Connor McLeod of the Clan McLeod?
Yes, my middle name is Connor, and my mother named me that after Connor McLeod. Nice. So, yeah, I love films sort of with that sort of same vibe, and I have it on Laserdisc. I don't know where I found that. It was a drunk purchase in college, but I cherish it dearly.
Nice. Well, I appreciate the support. I don't make any money off the DVD, but I'm glad you got it anyway.
What's the slice on Laserdisc these days?
Right.
Bet you it's worth a bunch.
Hey, those had good audio.
Indeed.
All right, so I do want to ask you on the subject of projects that you work on.
Mm-hmm.
I work full time. I've got 2 kids. I barely ever get to watch TV, let alone play games or do anything that isn't just, family stuff.
Sure.
And I regret to tell you I have not seen a single episode of Warrior Nun.
Oh, well, that's all right. I mean, it sounds like a hollow life to me, but it's not
I've seen all of it, by the way.
It's not mandatory, but
I want to hear your sell on why I should watch Warrior Nun.
Well, I mean, it was a show that we created out of sheer love. The characters came together beautifully. It was my first time working in a writer's room, like not writing on my own for a project, and that was an amazing experience. It was just all these great writers and came up with all these things, and then I just think the show came together in a way that exceeded our expectations on every level. And then in season 2, we were like, okay, now we're going to amp it up to 150 and all killer, no filler. And the second season, I think, is even better. I think that it looks as good as shows that cost 5 times as much. Like we just wrote these massive sequences and heists and all sorts of things, and I just kept expecting Simon Barry, our showrunner, to say, okay, now we got to cut all that stuff to fit the budget. And we never did. We never cut anything. It's just like what we got away with was astounding. So it's done with great love. Obviously had a huge impact worldwide on the fans, and it's just something I'm proud of. But like I say, it's not mandatory. It's just only if you like good things in your life, you should try it.
Nitroid's just a busy man. He's just
you got 2 kids. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Should have thought of that before you had the kids.
Yeah, I could have been watching Warrior Nun. Damn it.
Am I going to be able to catch Hayter's unnamed, unplanned show? If I do this. But
that's why it's important to plan ahead.
It is important. Yeah.
I don't have kids, and I've seen Warrior Nun.
Right.
With those implications, it sounds like you're still hitting the ground running with writing, which is a good thing to hear.
Yeah, well, that's my job. I mean, I've been a working screenwriter for 25 straight years, which is very unusual in this business. And, people you can't imagine how many things I've written that got made, didn't get made, got thrown out, got rewritten, whatever. I mean, just the amount of work has been mind-blowing, and fortunately it continues. I've got a show I sold to Universal right now. I've got deals a movie deal at Amazon and another show deal at Netflix now. So things are busy.
That's awesome. Yeah, and going back to saying, like, when you first came in as a screenwriter, I mean, that was around when, like, X-Men and, you're writing for that and stuff.
That was my big break, was X-Men. Yeah, that was my first writing job.
What a pair of movies those were, man. Like, that was such a cool time, too, because, there wasn't too many great comic book movies out at that time. There was, especially tied to Marvel.
But there wasn't a formula.
Yeah. Like, after the first success of the first movie, did they kind of like relax on, or kind of give you more leeway and like trust you to kind of do what you wanted with it? I mean, like trust me, this will work, or was it?
No, no, they were worse.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, like the first movie, I was like, well, nobody knew if it was going to work or not. There's all these superpowered characters, hadn't really been done before, and so I was like, oh well, it kind of makes sense that they're freaking out about every little detail. No, once it became a hit, they were worse. I mean, it was just every little idea was analyzed to death and questioned and whatnot. But I mean, we had Bryan Singer, who's a big director, and if we all loved an idea, Bryan would make sure it got through. But if not for if we didn't have an A-list director, they'd have walked all over us. It would have been a terrible, terrible movie.
Yeah. I love that trivia you dropped on Twitter the other day, talking about just Magneto's helmet, and how you guys are all sitting on set like, well shit, like I guess
right. I'm like, oh, I better come up with something. Yeah. So somebody was asking about how we decided that Magneto's helmet should block Charles Xavier's telepathic powers, and it was either that or Xavier and Magneto could never meet up.
Yeah, just make him go to sleep. Yeah,
and some people, pointed out, they're like, well, he did that against Juggernaut in the 1990s cartoon show, but I never saw the 90s cartoon show. I just read the comic books, and so I wasn't aware of that. We were lucky to hit on the same solution eventually.
Yeah, hearing other little small things like with the screenplay about Wolverine just having a beer, not specifying.
Oh yeah,
it's like those little small details like that. Like hearing about that, I just really appreciate stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think on the day he just said, I'll have a beer because we didn't want to specify a brand, but But everything I said about it being cool for various reasons remains true. I mean, I was there, and I could have said, "Look, he should order something specific," but that was the calculus I made in my head that this guy bartender, he might have seen him before, he might have been drinking throughout the night. Like all the implications made sense.
Yeah.
So a beer is good enough, and it was Canada, so the beer's going to be good.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Favorite? Is my favorite. What's my favorite? I've got a few.
It's a big question.
Like Mill Street Brewery, Upper Canada Lager. I was gonna say Steam Whistle, but that always gives me a headache. I don't know. There's a bunch. Actually, I shouldn't say this as a Canadian, but my favorite beer is Japanese, Asahi and Sapporo.
Yes.
Is that what we ordered at Orichan that day, Nitroid?
No, we had Guerin.
Oh, okay.
Ichiban.
Guerin is also good, but it's my third favorite.
Real quick, just side detour. So it is Orichan ramen that you kind of champion, right?
Yeah, I love Orichan ramen. I think it's...
Oh, okay, cool. Because me and Nitroid made a specific trek when we were out in LA last time. We were like, we need to eat the ramen. Like up here, you had been there before, right, Nitroid?
Yeah. During E3 one year.
Yeah, that was definitely top tier.
I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean it's
it was great.
Really
That's
unique,
fantastic.
and the flavors of it are incredible. And
yeah,
I like Orichan ramen.
Shout out Orichan.
I'm not eating that hot stuff though. Screw that.
Yeah.
I saw the faces of the people who did that on the screen, and no, nuh-uh.
Oh no. I had a buddy who did. So what he's talking about is at Orichan, the spiciest ramen. They come 1, 2, 3, but the spiciest one for reasons which will become clear is the spicy number 2, and they call it that because the next day it continues to be spicy. And it's so spicy that if you eat the whole thing, you end up on the wall of fame or shame or intestinal.
And they're all crying too, like they look like they've been through war.
Well, I had a buddy of mine who did it, and he ate it all. And this is the guy that you can just dare him to do anything, and he'll do it. So he did the spicy number 2, and then we went to play poker, and 3 hours later, his face was still beet red and sweat pouring down his face. I mean, like, it's brutal.
Yeah, I'm normally all about it, but I had a flight the next day, and I was just like, I'm not going to do that to myself. Like, I'm just I'm going to go with the 3.
You were going to get hotter. I had to talk you down. I was like, dude, no, however hot you think, like, go a step down.
Yeah, I was like, let me get the 3.
Yeah, good call.
Like, don't do it.
Yeah, I always get the 3 myself, but
yeah, that was good.
But the 2
God,
will kill
that's
you.
good.
It is good, and then you eat it, and then like 2 days later, you're like, oh my god, I wish I was still eating that.
I know, that's fantastic.
So that's Orichan Ramen, downtown LA, Little Tokyo.
Yeah, great
Which
stuff.
is just the most fun place.
Yeah, just don't stray too far.
No.
Oh yeah.
Don't go around the corner; they'll skin you and eat you.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out where to go.
We almost got mugged by like a double dragon villain. We were like, oh shit!
Right.
Like,
He had a bike chain wrapped around his hand.
literal bike chain wrapped around his hand. We're like, all right, we got to get out of here. Call the lift.
Oh my god!
We look at the map and we're like, oh, we're a block from Skid Row. Maybe we need to turn around.
Yeah, you got to be careful in that area.
So, you know what? I'm just gonna come in with a story here. So I just actually poured myself a mimosa with Kirkland's lemonade or Kirkland's champagne. Not sure if you're aware of Kirkland's. It's a brand of Costco.
No, I'm not.
For those who don't know about Costco is famous for their $1.50 hot dog. There is an urban legend that the CEO of Costco threatened to kill people if they decided to up the price.
That's true.
Yeah, it's not an urban legend. He said that.
Okay, well, the reason I'm saying all this is it's in my head canon that David Hayter did the same thing, but to keep the intro for Watchmen, those sweet intro credits. Is that true, David?
Did I threaten to kill someone to keep the intro credits?
For Watchmen, yeah.
To the movie? No. No, I believe the story was, the story as I heard it, because I was only on set while they were shooting for like 3 days, so I wasn't there for the whole production, but I was told that Zack Snyder came up with the
the incredible opening credit sequence of Watchmen. It's one of the great opening credit sequences of all time, as far as I'm concerned. And
agreed.
And Warner Brothers said, why are we paying all this money for that? We don't need this, whatever. And so Zach said, just take it out of the script, and I know what I want to do. And he just shot it on his own, which I don't know what that means, how that's possible. He recreated the Kennedy assassination, among a million other things. I don't know how it was done, but that was entirely Zach's magic, and I'm sure I've threatened to kill people over less, but that was not that was not an issue.
Yeah, I that's another film I love, and I from both a writing and directing perspective, I can't believe both you and Snyder pulled that off.
Yeah, me too.
Just wanted to let you know that was my headcanon, and I will try to diminish it now that I've confirmed that is not the case.
No, I was not there to defend the title sequence, sadly, but it got through.
Although, speaking of wanting to kill people, what are your thoughts on the AI stuff? I've been wanting to pick your brain about this.
Those people are already dead.
While.
I mean, like, there's nobody to either they've got no soul or they're a computer. So
God, yeah, I've seen you talk about it a bit. Yeah.
What's my feeling? I mean, it's new technology. Everybody gets very excited about it. Everybody's like immediately saying to me, "Oh, we won't need screenwriters anymore. We don't need voice actors." I think that's nonsense. I just don't think.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I'm working on a film right now, and the producer sent me an outline that he generated through AI. And said, "Here, take a look at this, and see if it sparks anything or whatever." And I went through it. I was like, "Yes, these are the obvious elements you would put into a movie like this." Like, I mean, it's just the most basic ideas, no creativity, no nothing. And I've seen that happen a few times. It's learning technology. Maybe it'll figure out what talent is. I think that's what's missing. The initial.
It's not thinking.
Original spark of talent.
It's just a language processor.
Yeah, but I mean, is it possible that the computer can figure out what talent is, what good writing is from bad writing? I don't think that's the case right now, and I think it's the same thing with any creative endeavor. So I think people will play with it. I think the studios and developers will think, "Oh, this will be a great shortcut." I think they'll find the shortcomings of it, and down the road, maybe it'll be something. But what I am excited about is the ability for AI to like map the human genome, to figure out every cancer-fighting agent, to figure out how to undo muscular dystrophy. Massive physics problems, things like that. I'm very excited about.
Yeah, there's good applications for it.
Yeah, but if you're using it to replace Elias Toufexis' voice with a computer, then you're making a mistake.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is a scary question though, because if you say, can it learn what talent is, but that sort of presumes that talent can be sort of algorithmically defined.
Right, and I don't know that that's the case. I think that determining quality in entertainment or in literature and movies or whatever is a human thing. I think we all know it when we see it, but it's so ephemeral and it's so difficult to pin down in advance. Everybody wants to be brilliant when they're writing something from the ground up, and sometimes it's brilliant and sometimes it's not. And so it's like I say, it's ephemeral, it's difficult to define. And because it's a learning algorithm, it's going to be swallowing all this crap along with The Godfather or Shakespeare or whatever. And I think that will bring the quality down. I don't think you'll be able to define quality with it, but who knows?
I am waiting for that sort of event horizon where the LLMs just sort of continually consume just more LLMs, and it becomes like an Ouroboros of just generated data.
What is an LLM?
Right. Well, it starts
or large language model.
LLM. Oh, okay. Yeah.
LLM. Sorry.
Yeah. The short version is these things understand the rules of the English language without actually knowing what any of it means. So if you say 2 + 2 equals, well, it's going to look at a list and say, oh, 4 is the common answer. But it doesn't actually understand that 2 + 2 = 4. It just knows that 4 is what you expect to hear. That's how these work, just in a very complex way. They're not thinking.
Yeah, and that determination is so far from, writing a great line of dialogue to knowing that when Roy Scheider says you're going to need a bigger boat, what an impact that's going to have on the movie, and how cool that is to say in that moment. You can't.
To a degree, it's not even something you can teach. There's that one like famous anecdote about Mario Puzo, who like the Godfather was the first screenplay he ever wrote, right?
Right.
And then later, when he tries to go and sort of like learn, what am I supposed to do as a screenwriter?
Yeah, me too.
You what?
Study The Godfather. Yeah.
Right. Study exactly. Yeah.
He gets a book and it says "Study The Godfather," and he's like, "Oh, God damn it!"
Like, what do you do at that point? But there's something intrinsic there.
Well, that omits the fact that, and this is what I had on X-Men and Watchmen and whatnot, to have a brilliant director next to you telling you what's a screenplay, what's not a screenplay is very, very helpful. Like if it's your first
guidance, yeah,
if it's your first screenplay, what I was learning was what's A-level writing and what's B-level writing and what's C-level writing, and I was doing it all, and then I was taught to stop writing TV crap. That's a quote. And I started to learn, okay, this is what somebody with taste would want to see in the movie.
Yeah.
And again, taste and quality, these are indefinable elements. So how computers are going to pick it up, I don't know. I don't mean to be a Luddite about it, but right now the technology is so crap at creative. Look at all the AI pictures.
I don't think you're being a Luddite about it.
Just being practical.
Yeah, there's definitely always a tell that it's AI. I mean, and that's like, especially in the music sector, I haven't heard anything that's like appealing. It's like, yeah, sure, you're hitting chords and stuff, but this is like, it's missing the human element. So it sucks. Like all of it sucks pretty much. That's where it's at right now. So
know how for realism we have the uncanny valley?
Yes.
There needs to be a term for good taste.
Yeah, the untalented valley.
Yeah, because it's something there,
The talent-free valley.
You're right.
There's our episode title.
Talent-free valley.
Oh man.
Yes, I agree.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I don't listen to any AI music. I happened across one, and it was fucking Homer Simpson.
Wait, there's AI music?
Yeah, so music.
Oh yeah, they can churn that out all day, but it just sucks.
The like character sings the yeah. I thought you meant like fully like songs.
Well, there is if you want to hear them. Grimes, who I know a little bit, she embraced. She was like, "Look, anybody wants to create an AI Grimes song, let me know, and if they're good, I'll put them out." And so.
Yeah.
So she's just totally embraced it. And I haven't heard any of the AI versions of her music, but she seems to be getting behind it. So I don't know.
There's tons of different, plugins and applications of like where it's, it's chord generators or, like you throw in, a couple variables and it churns out something random. I mean, that could even be considered AI, and that, those tools have been around forever. But it's kind of, it's a tool at the end of the day of like how much of your music is going through this randomizer and how much of it's you throwing stuff down. So
and how much of it is based on stolen data.
Yeah, and how much of it is perfect and got no edge to it. And I'm probably misattributing this quote, but somebody like Beethoven said, "Look, to play the wrong note is forgivable. To play without passion is not." And you can't make a computer play without passion. You can make it fake passion, I suppose, but but that's a really key element to selling any artistic endeavor is the life and the soul behind it. And so if there is none, I don't know if they'll ever get there. Maybe they won't. But they ain't there now.
That's the paradox. You can't fake authenticity.
And that's the big part with, making electronic music is that it's like, if you just program everything in to land perfectly, like you can tell it's like, oh, this was programmed. Like, you know, to emulate the human on the drum set, you have those imperfections where milliseconds make a big difference.
Yeah, totally.
And, just that lateness or the snap, whatever you're doing of staying in the pocket, like all that matters. And to just program that is really hard. Like it's hard to get that human feel. So I don't think we're going to be, it's not going to become like indistinguishable. I think right now we're all calling it out for what it is.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about being replaced just yet.
Yeah,
or ever.
Let's see, Apache, did you want to ask about steak or anything? Or I'm not sure what you're
solid steak.
Yeah, wait, what? Okay, I'm in the dark on this one. What are you talking? What?
All right, David.
Here we go.
So
let's go.
Oh God. So there's a video that Kiefer Sutherland did a bunch of videos during the lockdown. What?
And we lost him.
He was.
Don't say the K word.
He played Jack Bauer on 24.
Oh, you're breaking up. I'm going into a tunnel. No, I'm just kidding. Yes,
this is going to segue. This will segue to MGSV. We'll get there. Trust me, I got a plan.
So I love steak. It's my favorite thing to eat. And when you were saying about when you have that meal,
yes,
you think about it for days afterwards. A few days ago, me and Days Ahead had a steak at a restaurant in an MGM. I'm still thinking about it.
For the context, we were celebrating him successfully completing a no-hit RE2 Make Leon Damage run at the MagFest speedrun charity event. And in the same way, Leon has a Lightning Hawk. We got a tomahawk steak, 32 ounce. And yeah, unforgettable experience. My wallet will certainly not forget.
There's this video out there of Kiefer cooking a steak, and it's just a mess, and
it's so bad.
When we compare, it's like you got the real deal, and then you got, we got Venom Snake at Home type deal,
right?
But so we kind of want to know, like with David, how do you cook a steak? I mean, is there some tips that you really need to do? Because we watched Kiefer do it, and we're like, what a mess! Like, I bet David wouldn't cook a steak like this. So,
well, I'm sure I wouldn't. I mean, I didn't see his horrible technique, but.
He's touching the meat and just touching all the other stuff without washing his hands in between. It's just getting,
yeah, that sounds like Jack Bauer.
See, I learned how to cook a steak from Letterkenny.
Yeah, well, that's probably a good way to do it. I don't look. I'm not much of a cook, but I will grill a steak on the barbecue. I only know one thing about cooking steak, and that is you put it on the grill. You cook one side until the juices start coming through the other side. Then you flip it until the juices come through again on the top, and then you're pretty much where you need to be. That's about all I know. I know how to eat it because I eat in a lot of really nice restaurants, and sometimes I'll get like astounding steaks. Or I went to Boa recently, and I had a 4-ounce Kobe beefsteak for $200, and that was pretty tasty.
Oh man!
Did it bring a tear to your eye when you were eating?
Oh yeah, I mean it was just
melts,
so melty and delicious, and the flavor was incredible, and it was so rich you could only eat 4 ounces of it. I mean it was amazing.
How do you order it usually?
Medium rare.
There you go.
Medium rare, grilled onions, sautéed mushrooms.
Okay.
Horseradish on the side, and probably a dirty martini to go with.
You're just saying all the right words right now.
God, that sounds so
good.
I've
been around a while. I know how to live,
this is kind of the information we wanted to get.
I'll tell you a great story. So, well, I hope it's a great story. The first night that Patrick Stewart arrived on the X-Men set, we all wanted.
I already love this story.
Yeah, we were in Toronto and we wanted to take him out for dinner, and so it was me and the X-Men guys, Halle Berry.
Famke Janssen.
I
love her.
Yeah, Famke was there. I don't think Hugh had been cast yet, and Patrick Stewart. So I order a dirty martini, and I'm sitting next to Patrick, and it comes, and it's all cloudy, and he says, "Oh, well, what's that?" And I said, "Oh, it's a dirty martini. It's just a vodka martini with olive juice in it." And he's like, "Oh, never encountered such a thing before." I said, "Would you like to try it?" I hadn't tried it yet, and I was like, "Would you like a sip?" And he goes, "Oh yes." And so he tries it, and he goes, "It's a bit like swimming with your mouth open, isn't it?"
Oh my God, I can't believe you're on here doing impressions of Patrick Stewart. This is the best fucking day of my life.
Oh yeah.
We got a bunch of Trek fans in here for sure. They love
we literally sit in Discord and watch TNG all day sometimes.
As you should. Make it so.
It's like comfort food for the soul.
And then Ian McKellen was like, "That martini you shall pass."
Oh, Jesus.
This is great.
So there you go. So that was a little story from the X-Men days.
That's awesome.
That's going to be all I think about when I watch it now.
Oh, it's a bit swimming with your mouth open, isn't it? He's a clever character.
Yeah. We promised that segue into MGSV. You know, we saw you came around and you're playing it now and having a good time. It looks like.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
MGS5.
Yeah,
I'm pretty obsessed. Like I'm playing. So I don't know when I tweeted that I started, but I'm 19% of the way into the game. I'm doing every single mission. I was waiting for my dog to grow up. Like, I'm taking showers at the base. I mean, it's like I'm flipping all my coworkers onto the mat. It's fantastic.
It's cathartic.
It's the voice is whacked, but but the gameplay.
Oh, we got mods for that,
right? But the gameplay is the best. It's so good. So I'm really loving it. It's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, there definitely do exist mods out there that replace all the lines and just kind of throw them around. But
right.
No, yeah, you're right. The gameplay loop itself is it's a fun time. I mean, it just you can kind of go about and do whatever you want and kind of approach situations how you like. And once you kind of get locked into that game, it definitely takes a few months of your life if you let it. So
yeah, it's really I'm really impressed, and it's not as much of a bummer to hear the snake as I thought it would be. So nice to make peace with it.
Yeah, he doesn't talk too much. So
well, indeed.
Yeah. And it's such a departure from like the narrative kind of delivery system that we were used to with the other games. I mean, just having to kind of piece together the story and listen to some tapes when you're sitting there chilling in the helicopter or whatever. It's it's different. It turned a lot of people off just on that alone. Just like we kind of like the linear style of the old Metal Gears for sure when it comes to storytelling. So
that's more Metal Gear, but
yeah,
but they they were just stuck. They were like. Kiefer's never going to record for 9 months.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. It takes a long time to record a proper Metal Gear game. So I knew that when they cast him, I'm like, he's never going to put in the time that I put in, like ever. So what are they going to do? And then, so these are all the things they had to do.
Yeah, he says like 8 lines.
Right. I'm already a demon.
See, I want to hear that version.
I want to hear it too.
Yeah. I mean, have you heard some of the lines and just like looked at it from a screenwriting, like, or from that angle?
Well, I always do that. I mean, there's always like crazy dialogue in every game that I'm like, really, we're going to say this? But then it's Metal Gear. So you just say whatever wacky thing they've written and you go on. But delivery wise, I'm like, no. Can we get a different take on that? Plus, also, I can hear like when he reins up the horse, he's like, whoa, and then he's got like 2 things that he says because they only recorded 2.
Yeah,
we can't afford more takes.
Right. So stuff like that cracks me up. But I am running the dialogue in my head. Like if it's something significant, I'm like, how would I have done that? And then I do it, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so much better,
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing around. I mean, it's true, but I am joking.
We get you. We get you 100%.
I think we did that all in our heads too, to be honest.
Yeah, we're like, what would David sound like on this part? And I mean, yeah, when that game was coming out, everybody had this idea of like, well, what if at the end, it's Big Boss coming out and showing his real self, and they have that matchup with Solid Snake, and
spoilers, man.
There is the surprise of David Hayter, and there's all these what ifs.
I know the spoilers now. I believe me, people have told me the spoilers for.
Oh, yeah. They met MGS5 fans. They won't shut up. It's like every time someone gets to that game when they're playing through the series, everyone just like all the 5 fans come out and they're just like, I have to spoil the entire game for you.
Well, no, that's not what happened. That's what I was saying. Like that was like a wish of the fans of like, would it be cool if David came back and you had these two voices going off each other?
But that kind of makes it funnier though. I'm just like, so this is, this is just some dude.
Yeah, some medic on the Ground Zeroes. Yeah, Kaz got played like a fiddle, and then
this
that
is just some dude, and they're like, it's a snake, and oh my god, it just makes the whole game hilarious to me. I think
it's almost Revolver Ocelot, like Liquid Ocelot, level of ludicrous. Of where I'm like, okay, what the hell?
Right,
what's going on here?
Right, but I am enjoying it. It's beautiful, and gameplay is amazing. And it's fun to be snaking about.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear that, you're kind of, running the reads in your head, doing the lines and stuff. Just seeing you on the 25th anniversary panel that we did with Chris Zimmerman and Salter, it's just, it was awesome seeing like the direction and how you would take just one little piece of advice or one, bit of direction and just go that way, we got some really good takes that day. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. That was cool to show people.
Yeah.
And nice to give some credit to Chris because she's such a brilliant director and to show the shorthand we've got because we've been doing it for so long together.
Yeah. Yeah, the chemistry was really cool there. You could tell you guys had done a lot of work together.
Yeah. What song do I have playing for my helicopter speakers when it lands? Well, I don't want to ruin any of the songs by playing them too much, but I was playing Only Time Will Tell, which I thought was funny, and Take On Me.
Yes.
That's a good one.
First one was Kids in America, and that was pretty fun. So I like switching it around. Then I put Flight of the Valkyries in at one point for full Apocalypse Now atmosphere.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, and we also just had the big Fortnite drop where Solid Snake and Old Snake and it looks like Raiden just dropped too tonight, like an hour before we started recording. So it's cool to see just Metal Gear kind of explode everywhere now. We've got a resurgence.
What's it like waking up and seeing Snake do the Turk dance?
Well, I don't know what that is, but I would imagine it'd be pretty damn cool. Don't know what a Turk dance is, but
Turk from Scrubs.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Don't just
if you say so.
Fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It is kind of wild though because it's putting these characters in front of a much younger generation that didn't grow up with these games.
It's very cool.
My youngest son in particular, I mean, he is getting. It's very strange that he seems to know more about these characters from memes shared among his friends at school than he does from me.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not sure how to process that.
Well, that's how kids communicate now, through memes. So I'll take it as long as they're talking about you.
It's like those aliens in TNG who speak through metaphor. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We agreed no Star Trek. Let me move on.
We're not.
Speaking of Fortnite, I mad respect for them using MGS2 Raiden.
Yeah.
I know Rising fans feel some sort of way about it, but I think that we literally argued with one of our MagFest roomies about how MGS2 Raiden deserves more respect overall. And then we see that he was manifested into Fortnite, and it just, I'm so glad he's getting the love and attention he deserves.
Enshrined alongside Peter Griffin.
Yes.
Right.
With that skull suit looks so good. The texturing, the way there's little like air pockets around like the rib cage area. I know this is a very snake centric episode. I do apologize, but I just needed to call out how good Raiden looked.
And I'm sure they'll come up with a rising skin for him at some point, or Revengeance skin, I guess is what we're looking for.
The take I keep saying is like seeing people saying, "Well, Ryzen's the more popular version, so why didn't they use that?" It's like, Ryzen is more popular than Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. What kind of hell world do we live in?
Right. That's just insanity.
Yeah. These kids don't get it. Yeah, on the topic of MGS2, we're kind of, of course, in this age where we look back on that speech and it's like, oh, yep, here we are, and just all this social media stuff has kind of come true. Back when you were first kind of reading that script and going over that, did it seem kind of prophetic, or was it just like, what is all this bullshit? Like, did it kind of resonate with you at the time, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I am a big, well, I certainly was a big news junkie. Now the news is so depressing, I don't mainline it like I used to. But when we were making those games, I was really trying to figure out American politics and why they do the things they do. And then I found out, and I was like, oh, I'm horrified. But so, whenever Kojima was talking about AI or mapping the human genome or privatized military companies, or smart weapons, I had already read similar articles. Like we knew at the time things that were coming. But what Kojima did was he just framed it in a way that put us into the future and extrapolated what was coming with those technologies, and in such a brilliant and incisive way. And that's part of the brilliance of the games, is that they are literally predicting the future. I mean, you if you were in those eras, like if you were in 1998, you would know that, and you knew about mapping the human genome, you'd know that they finally got it done right then, and that this was going to open the door to all these things. But Kojima so brilliantly just sort of put us, a few decades ahead. And when you do that, when you adapt to reality like that, or prognosticate on where technology's going, it makes the player feel so much smarter and more informed. So if you don't follow the news and you're playing at 17, and then 10 years later you're 27 and you're reading about human genomes, you're like, oh my god, I was dealing with that Shadow Moses 10 years ago.
Yeah,
it's a very cool thing, and it's a brilliant way to add like real world issues into your games without necessarily being preachy or whatever. It's just, here's the situation, and here's what's coming, and reality is going to be fractured by AI and by this and that. And so yeah, I've always admired that about the games.
It sort of reminds me of like Michael Crichton novels in some ways.
Yeah, totally. Well, that's exactly right. It's Michael Crichton knew his science, and he knew where things were going, and he comes up with the Andromeda strain, 50 years before COVID or what have you. And now, and scientists are literally trying to replicate mastodons and things from the techniques he described. So, it really makes, a piece of entertainment so much more profound and real.
Right. What's the term? It's verisimilitude.
Verisimilitude, yeah.
Wasn't sure if I was saying that right.
Well, you're not, but it's verisimilitude.
Yeah, David got it.
Fair enough. You got it. I learned.
But you were awfully close, and that's the important thing.
Yeah. Still a word I have to Google every time we bring it up, but nah, I know what it means now.
Right.
But yeah, that is it really does encompass all of that for sure. I mean, MGS2, we sit here and talk about it pretty much every episode and kind of bring it back up in one way or another. But
the game came out, some dude wrote a college thesis about it.
Oh yeah. Well, MGS2's thesis is really only coming to fruition now. I mean, we just launched AI officially a few months ago, and MGS2 was talking about it in 2003. So
yeah,
we don't have to follow that path. We can stop.
Yeah, well, we're all getting to be old Snake.
Oh god, yeah.
Has any other like particular message from the series like stuck with you personally, like of any of or all the games? Like, has anyone just really kind of been like the one that kind of stuck out with you? Or
well, they all stuck out to me. I mean, like I say, like when Metal Gear 4 came out and he was talking about privatized military companies, it was like right at the beginning of when BlackRock was doing their thing in Iraq, and so, like I say, having followed the news and science the way I do, I'm always impressed whenever we take on a new game, and it's 10 years ahead of where we're going to be, and so that stuck out to me. But I mean, the stuff that really sticks out to me are the emotional moments, and the death of Sniper Wolf, the final battle of Naked Snake against the boss, going back to Shadow Moses Island and Metal Gear 4, like those are the things that really move me. Like that's, the rest, the technological stuff is interesting and fun and gives it some verisimilitude, but it's the emotional impact that Kojima creates that is that really means something to me, that really sticks with me.
Nitro, didn't you say on the last episode too, like on that scene, specifically, it's like you can never really go home again. That's kind of like the thing that he was trying to go for.
That seems like sort of the message there is that you can sort of revisit your past, but it's never going to be the same.
I'm sorry, of 4?
When you revisit Shadow Moses there in MGS4,
yeah, it's all trashed and old, and it's I think that's really poignant, and it's just good storytelling.
It's kind of like going back to your hometown after leaving for like 20 years.
Yeah. Yes, I'm rereading it right now, and the adults are coming home and they're seeing their old town that they lived in, 27 years earlier, and it's all about how you can still see the bones of the old town underneath all the new stuff, and it's just creepy and awesome.
Yeah, you've definitely been tweeting a lot about Stephen King and how it's pretty much your favorite writer, right?
There's nobody compares to the King as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I'm obsessed. I read every single thing of his I can get my hands on. I've been tracking down short stories I never read and ordering vintage magazines to read them.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
I really like Cell. Have you read Cell?
Yeah, if you've read it, I've read it.
I don't know anyone else who's read it. Yeah, I don't know anyone else who's read it, and I really love that book.
Yeah, it was cool. It's a cool Stephen King take on the zombie genre, and I liked it quite a bit.
I think my favorite thing by Stephen King, this is a bit weird, but he wrote a short story called The Jaunt.
Oh, yeah. It's forever in there.
I love that. Yeah. God, that'll turn your hair white.
Literally. It's The Jaunt is terrifying. Terrifying.
Yeah, Stephen King was the first author I read where, like, I thought I don't know if it's going to be embarrassing to admit, but I find his writing so scary that I was, like, actually afraid to turn the page and continue. I'm like, if I just stay here, I'm safe.
Right. Then he can't get me. Well, I was, I don't know if I've ever told this story publicly before, but I was 15 years old. I was living in Canada, and I was reading Salem's Lot for the first time. And there's the main vampire is named Barlow, and my dad had read it and recommended it to me. So I was reading it. It's about midnight. Everybody in the house is asleep, and I've got my cat at the foot of the bed, curled up at my feet, and my legs. I got the book on my knees, and I'm just reading it, and it's just gripping and terrifying. And my dad slams open my bedroom door and goes, "It's Barlow!" like this. And I shrieked and kicked my feet out. The cat went flying off the end of the bed. Book went flying into the air, and I'm like, "What is wrong with you?" So that was pretty fun, and definitely an example of being in the grips of a horrifying book.
What's that book you always talk about, Nitro? Blindsight?
Oh, Blindsight.
Who's that?
Peter Watts. If you want to... There was a reviewer once who said something like, if I ever feel my will to live is too strong, I read Peter Watts.
What? I'm sorry, Blind Sight? SIGHT?
Yeah, Blind Sight. It's sort of a hard science fiction horror novel, and I just can't tell you anything about it. You just got to go and
so it makes you wish you weren't alive. Like it's disturbing.
Existentially very disturbing. It sort of is a study on consciousness, and the writer is he's got a PhD in marine biology, and just he brings a lot of that into the writing to make it very real, and it can be a little long-winded at times with how detailed it gets, but the sense it sort of leaves you with is just oh my god. Like I can't even tell you anything. I can't even tell you.
I understand. I will check it out.
But I will recommend that book until the day I die.
I'm going to hold you to that. No, I will check it out. Thank you for the recommendation.
I do have one question, if you could indulge me on something.
Sure.
I'm sorry to ask this. Would you mind saying hi to my son real quick? Because he really wants
hi to my son. Yeah.
Say hi.
Hello. I exist.
This is Solid Snake. How are you?
They have to have done some sort of editing to the voice.
No, that's it. No, that's he does
him,
that
man.
on his own.
No, that's just me.
Really?
Yeah, it comes out of my face like this. How do you know? How do you know Metal Gear?
My dad.
Yes, that's the right answer.
And what games have you played?
I've tried to get you to play.
I'm going to start playing them when I get a time to.
You know how hard it is to get your kids into the stuff you like?
So start with Fortnite.
It's a misery. Well, you can play Super Smash Brothers because it's showtime.
I mean, I kind of play CSGO too.
But it's not in CSGO.
I know that, but I'm going to... I know you're not into that, but that's kind of what I've been playing right now.
I'm sorry, which one?
Trust me, I will
Counter-Strike.
Oh, Counter-Strike.
I will go to Metal Gear. I will.
Well, I appreciate it. You've got a lot of great games ahead of you. And I'm sorry your dad is pushing my games on you so fervently.
Oh, man.
You good, bud?
Did you hear that, Nitroid?
See ya.
Yeah, I heard
Leave the
it.
boy alone.
See ya.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, David, yeah, we really appreciate you, man. Thank you for all you've done for the fandom, in and outside of the recording booth. You've just been a really cool guy. We can't wait to meet you at MGSCon 2. It's going to be a great time.
It's going to be so fun. Thank you for having me here, and can't wait to see you all.
Yeah, again, thank you so much. Real quick before you go, 2 last quick questions. What's it like working with Hideo Kojima? And how do I get into voice acting?
Yeah, damn it. Fingers, Days Ahead, Nitroid, and Apache Smith. I fucked it up.
Apache Smash.
I know.
I'm gonna call you that.
I'll take it.
I'm gonna call Apache Smith till the day I die now.
No, I
David Hayter got it right. Everyone else was getting it wrong.
Sorry.
I was just too polite.
I love Super Smith Brothers Melee.
Super Smith Brothers. I apologize. Let me start again.
All good.
You're all good.